Mr. Marshall, throughout the golden age of the 1950s and early 60s, you worked with certainly the cream of the producers and directors and writers, and I'd be curious to hear something about their personalities and the way they differed from one another. For instance, the way the personality that a Tad Moselle script had or a Reginald Rose script had. Or does that oversimplify it? Could everybody write everything? Did people have specialties? When,
No, they had, like J.P. Miller, a man who comes to a certain point in his life and he must make a change. This way, that way. The rabbit trap was one thing. And then there was one that we did about the Navy, that I was a captain of a ship or something like that. And man is going along in a certain way and he must make a change. That was kind of JP's idea, how you, you, you must make choices. Tad was more mystical in a way, that he had a special quality of his own. And Paddy Chayefsky, of course, is writing about a certain group of people living in New York City, the catered affair, Marty, the bachelor party, middle of the night. You could pretty much tell when you read it, that it was Paddy Chayefsky.
mm-hmm.
Some of the others were good writers, but you couldn't say it was a so-and-so script, It
Mm-hmm.
was just good writing, but there was no idea or central philosophy about life or people.
Were the writers willing to adapt their scripts very much in the course of rehearsal then? Did you have much input into what you were
We all
doing?
did. We would sit down, we'd get the script, it'd be delivered to us somehow or other, and then we'd get together for the first read-through. We would sit around a table, someone with a stopwatch, and just read it through. And then we would discuss, and anyone could say whatever they did, not that it's always going to be accepted, but be listened to. And then the producer and the director would go off with the writer, and we'd go home. And the next day we'd come back and let's change is made, because they had to do it rather quickly sometimes because something wasn't clear in the storyline or relationship wasn't really established. But we did, and sometimes we offered suggestions for cuts because, and also rearranging. I did that quite a bit of speeches and dialogue because I thought it would flow better if it was in this way. My system was that I would use numbers. They'd say 1 for that line, 2 for that line, 3 like that, so that then we'd read it through. I said, well, if you did it, but sometimes that would be necessary to make the actor comfortable or to make the story clearer.
Mm-hmm. It's the rewriting process sounds very much the way it continues to be today. Was there much difference
No,
then to
today,
now?
because it's filmed, you get the script and that's pretty much it. And the most recent thing that we did up in Toronto, there were some changes made. In fact, in some scripts there'll be some, like they have the scene order, and then there'll be a scene and nothing there except TBW. You know what that means?
You tell me.
To be written. So what? Who's going to write it? Well, just talk it over. And so sometimes we'd ad lib a scene because we knew what the idea was that we had to present. But that's rare.
Mm-hmm.
Film script comes in and it's been worked over very carefully, and that's the way they want to do it. You may have to go back and reshoot. You may have to
Mm-hmm.
do another scene or do a scene differently. Not often.
Didn't egos come into play then,
Always.
or always?
Oh, sure.
Who was the big cheese on those sets? The producers, the directors, the stars? Did it vary from show to show, or was it a
Well,
producer's
they were all
medium?
reasonable people. And I only remember once, I won't tell you the actor's name, he wanted to make a change. And the writer, the producer, the director said, no, you see, because, and he said, no, let me have this one. So he let him have that one. You know, he said, what are you going to do? Argue for hours with an actor over how a line should be changed or not? It's not that important. You know?